From the Channel Seed Studios, welcome to The Hook. A look behind the lines with Mike Palm and Ken Miller. Powered by Circa Sports Iowa. Sports betting the way it should be. This is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
And hello again, everyone, and welcome back. Another episode of The Hook is upon us. My name is Ken Miller. My partner is Mike Palm. Mike is the Vice President of Operations at Circa Sport out in Las Vegas. I talk sports on Des Moines Sports Station 106.3 KXNO, along with Trent Condon, every Monday through Friday from 11 until 1. Well, Mike, I've seen a lot of Twitter activity today. Jeff Benson jumping on an airplane, flying from Las Vegas on a Southwest into one of the, I guess, Midway. That's where Southwest is hubbed at. He says he's not going for pleasure. He's going for business. Does this mean that Illinois is about to come to reality?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised Derek didn't put him on an Amtrak. So at least he got to fly Southwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the eve, hopefully, of taking our first bet tomorrow. So still waiting some regulatory approval from Illinois, but a soft opening tomorrow, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to throw our grand opening next Wednesday. Brian Urlacher will be there. Of course, we'll be in the middle of game 2s of the wild card round. And then Thursday night, Bears at Commanders watch party at Waukegan amidst the potential game 3s of the wild card as well. We're so hoping the Cubs could have gotten in. And really, they probably would have been playing the Brewers, which have been perfect right where we're at. They're real close to the Wisconsin border in Waukegan. But they've just, the 6-run lead on Tuesday and then 3-1.
Last night, likewise.
17 straight last night. It's just, it's like 1969 all over again.
Yeah, it just seems like that team is on fumes, whether it be the starters, whether it be the bullpen. I don't know if they've overachieved. They've gone over their win total from the year. So there's that. And I'm grateful for that because
those were my two. Those were the two plays I had: over Texas, over Chicago Cubs. That was it.
I had, you can hit them both because Texas has flown over there.
Well, they rolled over 2 weeks ago.
I had the only over-under I bet was the Cubs. And then I bet Gossman and Castillo from the Mariners to win Cy Youngs, and neither of those two will. So anyways.
I got Cole at plus 110 about a month ago, which he's minus $1 million now. So I make money on the market, but Framber would have been my big ticket again. He actually hasn't pitched that well.
No, I agree with you.
No-hitter. He's been really weak and too many pitches. He went 6 innings, 26 straight games last year. He can't get out of the 4th inning now without 90 pitches. He's really lost the command.
Speaking of betting on futures, Mike, I've been meaning to run this by last couple of weeks. My affinity for them, and now my affinity for Super Bowl exactas. And what we talked about, in July and August and leading up to the season, we both thought there's only a couple of teams in the NFC that legitimately can get to the Super Bowl. I still feel that way. Maybe the Cowboys, maybe the Lions. But why, for instance, why would I bet the Bengals at 12-1 when I could put the Bengals on top of the Niners or the Eagles or the Cowboys and get 3 and 4 times that? Does that cut into your future business, especially when you have a year like where seemingly one of the conferences has, 2 or 3 teams that tower over anybody else?
Well, no, because people like the longer shots, right? People always like the longer shots. So it doesn't really. We still saw good action in the future book, especially in the AFC. Nothing's changed for me in the NFC. I believe there were 2 teams, and I think there's still 2 teams. I never believed in Dallas, and I don't think Seattle's offensively is good enough. I just don't think they're not. Listen, San Francisco is the most talented roster, top to bottom. I think both them and the Eagles are very well coached. I think they tower over the rest of the AFC is much more interesting. When Burrow gets healthy, Cincinnati will be in there. The KC defense has been great. The Chargers still try to lose every week with stupid decision-making. Cleveland with Chubb would have been a real problem for teams. Yeah. And their defense is still, that they haven't given up 10 first downs in a game yet, Ken? It's pretty remarkable. You know how many plays in the red zone the opposing offenses have run in 180 minutes? One. Followed a turnover, then they had a sack. They had 1 play in the red zone by Pittsburgh. That's it.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely legit. Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. You got to get some of that.
I'd Jim Schwartz ought to be coach of the year. He can't. He's not a head coach, but I mean,
Right.
he's made the biggest difference so far.
Wasn't it him that had the bounties in New Orleans?
No.
Didn't he?
No.
What did he get in trouble for?
No. I don't know. Schwartz was with the Lions. He was head coach of the Lions. But he was not part of the bounty gate.
I thought he crossed the line some, but you're right. He's a terrific coach. No doubt about that. Well, since we're on the NFL, one more before I got a crazy question for you. You mentioned the Chiefs and their defense. And I didn't like the Chiefs this year. I was taking a stand against the Chiefs. I think I made a mistake. And I made a mistake in big part because of that defense is starting to take on, dare I say, elite status. I mean, they're very, very good. It used to have to, if you're the Chiefs, put up 40 or you don't have a chance to win. Now your defense, week in and week out, I mean, that's a pretty good unit, Mike.
They're a very good unit. They've been a top 5 defensive unit, and we really haven't seen the offense explode yet. I mean, against the Bears are like, playing Homewood Flossmoor or somebody, or Glad
with a hyphen,
Gladbrook Rhinebeck, or Dennison Schelswig. They're just a joke. So I'm looking forward to this game in Germany in about 6 weeks, where it's Miami, Kansas City. That at a 6:30 a.m. Pacific time kick.
No, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, we've got 3 weeks in a row now. Then I think we take a couple of weeks off,
and then we go to Germany.
Then you go to Germany for maybe the game of the year is going to be taking place in Germany. What kind of business will you do on Sunday morning?
Small. We get more involved in the half times as people start to trail in for their cabanas and booths for the day, and they bet the second half. But we don't get a ton of people here for kick. Probably in the book there'll be less than 40 people at kick, especially Atlanta, Jacksonville. This week. Ken, I think that within 5 to 6 years, the NFL will have a 6:30 a.m. Pacific kick on a majority of Sundays. I think that's what they're aiming for, right?
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. What does the Ryder Cup do for business Sunday morning?
It'll be good. I think it'll be real good. Serious golf bettors and just people that are casual golf bettors get involved. They're obviously all bet the USA.
Sure.
Spend a lot of attention on this one. I think it should be terrific. These teams are pretty well balanced. I think the USA may be stronger down at the bottom of the lineup. So, I mean, it's close to a pick-em price. So it will get real good two-way action, I think.
Yeah, Matt Rudy rather had the same theory as you did as far as the depth. More depth toward the bottom this year on the Americans than in previous years. That's why he's going to pick them, and he's always picked most years and I've had him on the radio for, good God, 24, 25 years, and he's picked against the United States the majority of those years in Ryder Cup years for that very reason. All right, here's my theory. We're just talking about the Chiefs, so you might have an idea where I'm going. And that's Taylor Swift. You guys, because I was in Vegas to see it, and you involved with Barbie. I mean, Barbie was outside of Circa on the building itself. We were there for when Taylor Swift was in Vegas. I don't recall you guys do anything special for that. But here's my question. Obviously, 12 to 17-year-olds, the female demographic was through the roof. They can't bet. But 18 to 49-year-olds, which saw the biggest uptick that have ever watched an NFL game this past weekend. More women went out of their way, 18 to 49, to watch the Chiefs against the Chicago Bears in what was an awful football game. Can you convert some of that audience into wagering on sports?
Not sure. I mean, what was the gap between the first time you watched a football game and the first time you made a bet, Ken?
Fair point.
15, 20 years. I mean, some of it has to do with age, but
and the ability to do so too. I mean, you could.
Yeah, true. We'll see. I mean, it's. I can't believe what the momentum that she carries. I mean,
unreal.
It's really unreal, and I don't know who the marketing people are behind this relationship or what it's actually about, but this is like Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan coming together for WrestleMania 3, right? I mean, you're going to talk about peaking the peaks.
I didn't think the NFL could get any bigger. I thought it was King Football. Park Avenue, they've got to be ecstatic with this fight, right?
It's amazing. I agree with you. How could it have seen this big of a jump? It's already the king, right? But there's this whole audience. And the NFL, I made this argument for many years. It appeals to women more than probably any other sport, except to me in the short time UFC. women really get into UFC. They bet it, they follow it. And maybe I don't remember boxing being that way back when I was younger, that women really cared about boxing, but they really followed. It is really a mixed crowd when we have UFC events, and the women they're knowledgeable. They study up on it. It's surprising. That's probably the sport they bet the most and do the best at. We forget about the 53% minority, right? Because we're very male focused on our sports.
That's very true. All right, let's put football in the back burner. Promise we'll get back to it. Baseball, we're on the cusp, as you mentioned earlier. You're going to be in Illinois next week in Waukegan, right close to Wisconsin. It's too bad that the Brewers and the Cubs. I think the Cubs have to win 4 in a row because every tiebreaker, Mike, goes against them. Every single one.
Yeah. I think it comes down. They need the Mets to beat the Marlins tonight.
Yep.
They need some help. They really need help because they're up against it. Although the Brewers now have set their rotation, so you won't see any of their top 3 starters this weekend.
That's good.
Burns threw 4 or 5 innings today. You know what I mean? To set him up. You're not going to see anybody, but long relief guys. Really, maybe Miley gets a start tomorrow. You know, because he'll be the 4th guy if they need him. And the first guy in a situation because Miley can give you 6 innings.
Right.
But so they're set from that standpoint. But I mean, they threw their big guns down there. Steele, Tyone, and now tonight I believe Stroman's starting.
He is. Yep.
So now you got to come back with the second tier starters for Chicago as well. The only good thing you can say is Chicago brings more people to Miller Park than Brewers fans. So we'll see. It's just the emotional letdown of the way they've lost these games and 2 out of 3, and Suzuki dropping the fly ball. I mean, it was like Don Young in '69.
Bryant Brown in '98.
Yeah, I didn't remember that as vividly as, and I wasn't alive in '69, but my father talks about Don Young all the, and Don Young left baseball after that year. He was
didn't know that.
And they fought and he went and he was a janitor at a middle school in Reno, Nevada. I mean he just dropped off the face of the earth, Don Young, after he couldn't overcome dropping the fly ball.
What about do you remember the guy in Oakland? A similar scenario. Was it Dave Henderson in the '88 Worlds? Was it Dave Henderson? Didn't he had an error or something, and he was never the same after that? Do you remember that? Am I making that up?
I don't remember it, Kenny.
Yeah, I'll look that up. Anyways, who beats the Braves?
I actually think the Braves will get the 4-5 winner, which is going to be Arizona at Philadelphia. So the Braves' path is probably going to be Philadelphia and then Dodgers, Milwaukee, possibly, unless there's an upset. I actually think I don't know if Milwaukee can score enough runs to beat them, but I don't know where the starting pitcher comes from the Dodgers. I actually think the Phillies in a 5-game series have the best shot at beating the Braves of anybody in the National League than the other 2 in a 7-game series.
Did it last year, right? Knocked them out.
Yeah.
Now, Brian Snitker said today that next week when they're off, because they're off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're going to have simulated games, and just instead of just showing up and getting a couple of laps in, trying to stay in shape, they're actually going to open up the ballpark for the Braves fans to come and watch these simulated games for free. So they're making some adjustments. Didn't work last year. We shall see. Let's get the football, college football first. Last week, crazy week. We had some huge games. Which game was the most popular? Was the Dion factor still in place?
All right, I want you to guess, Kenny, and I did this with Michael Lombardi and Stormy today on his show. Guess what the top 4 games were in terms of right over the weekend. Now, this will include Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Top 4 games in right.
All of football.
Yeah, they're all football.
All of football. Okay, the top 4. I'm going to go Oregon.
900,000. 900,000, number 1.
Number 1.
900,000.
Notre Dame, Ohio State's on the
number
list.
2, 580,000. Number 2.
Holy mackerel. I'm on a roll. Couldn't be Penn State, Iowa. That wouldn't be the game.
You got to go to the pros now. No other college game was in the top 4.
Okay, so let me go back to last week and find. Let me get my schedule in front of me here. Minnesota Chargers?
Nope.
Steelers Pittsburgh?
No.
Steelers Vegas?
No.
early window?
Yes.
Oh,
One
Thursday.
one early, one late.
And not Thursday night's prime time. San Francisco okay.
No.
One early, one late. But it couldn't have been the Chiefs and the Bears.
Nope.
All right, tell me, I'm lost.
Packers, Saints, third.
Really?
Pats, Jets, fourth.
Pats and the Jets. Why were people betting that game?
Close games. You get the in-game factor added into the total. Everybody bet the Saints and laid a 1.5. Ken, it was our biggest variance of the year. We got so lucky the Packers came back and won that game. But remember, all those people that laid 1.5 could have got the Packers at 6-1, 8-1, 10-1 in game too. So I think that increased a lot of the right on that game.
Parlays had to be crushed. I mean, you guys had to kill parlays.
We got killed. We got killed on Saturday, and we did very well on Sunday. Basically broke even for the weekend.
The Cowboys go down in flames. That's a popular team. Jags get beat. Ravens get beat.
Yeah.
Those had to be three. Speaking of getting beat by two of those three teams, Mike Survivor, again, we didn't get to October. We had 4 entries this year. We had 2 of them alive going into last week. We took Baltimore. We took Jacksonville. Baltimore gave us a bit of a cheap thrill maybe for a while. Jacksonville was never in that football game.
Never. They got dominated by a rookie quarterback and by a depleted Texans team. I mean, they've got a lot of injuries there. That was to me a shocking result.
Yeah, Stroud can play a little bit. I think he's a good player.
He's not been bad. He doesn't turn the ball over, Kenny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm with you. Well, that's interesting. I didn't get those games. So what does a double dip on Monday night do? Does it do twice as much?
No.
Or
no. Maybe about 30 to 35% more.
That's the uptick.
It's no good because it's not staggered enough, Kenny. You need to stagger these games more. Mm-hmm. Why don't you kick it 3:30 and then come and or your time go 5:30 and then go 8:30? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's too much. Only an hour overlap. It's not good.
Yeah, no, I understand. All right, let's get to college football over the weekend. So what will be the big game this weekend? Is there a primetime game that's everybody's excited about? I don't see one necessarily. Do you?
On college?
Yeah. Notre Dame, Duke?
No. No. No, there's nothing. This is a bad week. People want to watch USC? Colorado. That's an early game. One of the better games of the weekend is actually tomorrow night. Utah at Oregon State, I think, is a very that Pac-12. They got 4 in the top 10, and we're not even talking about Washington State, who's been as impressive as anybody.
Right,
it's quite a conference. I still think this Washington might be the best of the group.
Got them this week at over 30-1 to win it all, win the national championship.
Washington. I got him at 22-1 to win the Pac-12.
That's better than my ticket.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
When did you get that?
I bet him about 2 games ago. I just like this Penix. I bet him right before the Michigan State game is when I made the bet. So that Thursday, Friday, whenever that was.
Yeah, Michigan State's bad.
I just said that USC defense is I can't trust the USC defense, and I'm not sure Oregon is as good as they looked, and Utah without Rising is not going to beat the top tier teams. So
you've had a play of the week the last couple of weeks that you've really liked, and they both got home. I think it was Washington State last week. You loved. Yep. Do you like anybody this week? College
I like
or pro?
LSU.
LSU to beat Ole Miss. Yeah. Is that a night game?
-2.5. I think I like them to beat. I think that LSU is more talented than Alabama, and Alabama made pretty easy work of that team. I think LSU is much more explosive offensively, and I like LSU by a touchdown plus here.
Yeah, I could see that, and that's a 4 o'clock. I think that's 4 o'clock Central. No, it's not. It is a night game. It is a night game. I think mine might be 7 o'clock.
Yes. Let me see. It's 3 p.m. our time, 5 o'clock here.
It's about 5 o'clock. All right, 5 o'clock here. So kind of in the middle of the day. All right, good stuff. Mike Palm, while you're off to Illinois, best of luck to you out there. Anything going on in Las Vegas since we last spoke? As far as Formula One, have they got that figured out yet?
Worse. It's just worse and worse and worse now. You can't even take the Strip. I hear they're going to be closing Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard for 8 weeks. It's a disaster.
Wow. And I saw some are the cabs on strike, or are Uber drivers slow to get to Harry Reid Airport?
Yes.
Last weekend?
Yeah, it's been bad.
I'll say, not been good. That's Mike Palm, Vice President of Operations at Circa Sports. You'll hear him on the radio with Trent and I tomorrow morning, Friday morning at 11:30, which would be about 30 minutes before you officially, if all things go according to plan, be able to cut the ribbon. Who's going to make the first bet in Illinois at Circa?
Don't know yet. Don't know, no.
Gotcha. No celebrity lined up or no politician? No. Nothing like that. Mike, have a good week in Illinois.
Rob Blagojevich. We tried to get Rob Blagojevich.
Nice.
Is Jane Byrne still alive? How about Jane Byrne? She's still with us?
You know what? I don't know that name. What's her
Henry
story?
Hyde? Henry Hyde was one of my boyhood heroes.
Really?
Assemblyman
I've heard of
Hyde.
him.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good stuff, Mike Baum. Have a good week. We'll see you next week on The Hook. We'll talk to you on the radio tomorrow. Thanks, Dade White, for producing behind the scenes. Who's actually going to be with you next Wednesday night at the grand opening.
I can't tell you how excited I am to hear that.
That just made the trip all the better, right? The Iowa
God.
guys are going. We'll see you next week. That's Mike Palm. Thanks for tuning in. Iowa Everywhere. We're sponsored by our friends at Circa Sports. You can download the app in Iowa. And as of Friday, if you're in Illinois, yes, indeed, Circa, Illinois. Good stuff, Mike. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody.